Hey, Magic friends, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here on CapnclydesMTG. Today, we've got a doozy. We've got some more cards that have raised in price, whether we knew it or not, and are becoming mainstays in several environments. And it's kind of interesting to see how standard will do that to a card. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. The comments down below will feed that YouTube algorithm. Also, starting today, links are in the description for the giveaway of Modern Horizons 2 for Christmas. So get in there while you can and get you a sweet Christmas gift from the captain and all my friends. So with that said, become a YouTube subscriber. It helps the channel a little as $1. So let's get into some of these sweet cards that we're going to see moving forward. So let's talk about the obvious elephant in the room, the Fairy Mastermind. The Fairy Mastermind from March of the Machines, or Mom. Get it? Mom. You know, she gives you the good stuff. This was the card that Yuta made when he won the World Championship. Everybody thought it'd be a good card, and when it came out, it was priced kind of high. It did dip down to around $10 for quite a while, but it has now become one of the most popular cards in Standard and maybe even a few other formats possibly, just because it is that good. A 2/1 Flash Flyer for a 1 and a blue. Plus, in Standard, the ability for each player to draw a card for 4 mana may not sound great, but for 4 mana, your opponent gets 1 card, you get 2. So, yeah, use this at the end of your opponent's turn, and the draw engine is real. So, currently, over the last, we'll say 2 months, this card has went from around a $12 to $13 card, well, 11 to 12, we'll say, all the way up to $31. It has become very popular in the Dimir Demons deck, which was seen at the Pro Tour and many other events around the world that's being covered. That is really taking the Standard world by storm and just performing very well, which has brought a lot of attention back to this card. Even though this isn't a demon, I mean, it's a little demon. Just its ability for early aggro, blocking, late game, or even mid game card advantage. Just it's something that kind of does everything the deck needs all in one card. Obviously, after sideboard, this card may come out against an aggro deck, but when you're first up against an aggro deck, I mean, it does block, and it's almost big enough to kill a lot of things. So it's better than nothing, we'll say, when it comes to these style of decks. So if you've got a couple of these floating around that you don't need, now might be a good time to go sell them. So also with that, we have a newcomer to the mat. That's right, Elspeth's Smite. Again, from Mom's Mom, bringing home the good stuff. You can see it was first printed in March of the Machines, put into the list slot, and now in Foundations for several reasons. As you can see, all the prices on this are pretty high. For an uncommon that simply says 1 white instant, deal 3 damage, target attacking or blocking creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. This has become a mainstay in Standard for any white deck to stop the red rush, we'll say, of all the red, or, well, any aggro deck just in general in the format. And not just because it's 1 white to deal 3 damage, but also because it exiles creatures. Some of the creatures that are dying, when you kill them, will actually deal damage to you when they leave the battlefield, when they go to the graveyard. Other things happen when they die. Because this exiles, it also eliminates their ability to get that extra damage, which is like gaining life. And because of that, this card has seen a lot of popularity suddenly. I mean, if you look at this one from Foundations, you can see the card only sells for $284. But there's a shipping fee on there of $127, so you're paying $4. So this card literally has went from around a 50-cent common, or 50-cent uncommon, to almost a $3 uncommon. And the reason why I bring this up is uncommons normally don't have this kind of value because of the normal availability of them. But sometimes, and almost it seems like every set, we have a few uncommons that get to those $1 or $2 ranges. Very rarely do we see big uncommons stepping up to the $4 or $5 range. But here lately we have, for various reasons. This one is because of the format. Other ones, like we talked with Paw Patch in some of our previous videos, is because of Commander. Lots of reasons, right? And it's kind of weird how all these reasons are culminating into not just sets having good rares, but also sets having good uncommons that are worth money. And this too could be part of, well, basically the bullish market that Magic's in right now, as everybody seems to love what's going on with the game and the fact that, well, they're cutting print runs. So the massive amount of commons and uncommons that we used to have really just ain't there anymore. So with that being said, though, you can also see here, this is the March of the Machines version. Excuse my cutoff at the top. The March of the Machine also is around 25 cents. It has went up to around $2. Again, you're still paying close to $4 for the original. But it just goes to show you the card value here until Foundations basically came out, taking the value and stock price of this card from every format straight up. And March of the Machines wasn't that long ago. Like, this has been printed into Foundations, I get that. But the price of this card may stay high for a while because, well, Foundations won't... 3 years. 3 years of Foundations, right? So as the aggro decks evolve and move forward, the only way that this card doesn't become good is if the aggro decks have cheap cards with 4 toughness. And Lord help us if we ever get to that part of Magic, because, dear God, the world will burn. Anyhow, so we have that. Now, other cards to talk about inside the sets. We have the Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber here. Again, easily an $8 card. You can see the price spike from the Pro Tour. It has since come down, but it is going back up again. It's around the $8 mark right now. If you've got some extras of these, now is as good as time as any to get rid of them and kind of cash in on that because, well, I mean, the best time would have been in October after the Pro Tour, but the key here is the standard set. This is the top dog right now until someone figures out some good way to combat it, is just basically Dimir Demons. But with Aether Drift coming out in January, anything could change. No, I'm not saying that this card will get worse, but to be fair, I mean, a 5-mana 6/6 flyer is pretty sweet, especially for standard. And the fact that you can lay it early and then draw a card and pay 2 life every turn guarantees you hitting those land drops to take your demon later. And then when the demon's on the battlefield and, you know, you gain 2 life and your opponent loses 2 life and you're drawing a card, it's just insane. So other things that may happen, people may, or other sets may come out with smaller, cheaper demons, or even changelings. Lord help us if changelings come to the game. That'll make this card even more expensive. So maybe it's not time to sell. Maybe it is. This is one of those cards you're going to have to pick for yourself on whether or not you want to hang on to it or let it go. But as far as I'm concerned, I would just keep a play copy of 4 and then get rid of any extras you have because, I mean, you only need 4 for a deck, right? And after this thing rotates out of standard, probably not going to see a whole lot of play outside this. But who knows? Maybe there's cheap demons in Modern. Pioneer. So with this, also in standard, something else to give a little shout out to here is Nowhere to Run. This Duskmourn card started out at $6 as everybody had high hopes for it. It is now down to around $1.70, $1.70. Now, it doesn't include shipping fees, so it's probably still about $3 after shipping. But here's the thing. This is going to be a mainstay card full removal until it rotates out. Here's why. Black and 1, -3/-3 with flash. It's an enchantment. First off, it stops the aggro decks currently in the format of standard. All right. 2, creatures your opponents control that can be targeted spells or abilities, as though they didn't have hexproof. Ward abilities those creatures don't trigger. That is just a bonus. If a deck or creature gets printed where this matters, and people are already playing this card, it's irrelevant, because this card already deals with it. Now, if a deck becomes very popular that has these abilities, this card may pick up in value. But the drawback to this card is honestly right on it, which is, -3/-3. That doesn't kill big nappy 6/6 flying demons, unless you got 2 of them to cast. So that is the issue. But, again, is a card easily sideboarded out, does have some options, and as an enchantment, it is something that can be bargained away later in the game if you're playing cards with bargains. So it does have a lot of versatility, and I do expect this card to continue to see play until there is a big shakeup in the standard metagame format. So there you have it, everybody. There's some cards to look at going up in value, raising in value, or just insanely popular for some reason. Because they're good. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind, and as always, I hope to see you across from the game table.